Do you own or run a business in Ipswich? This prime spot is now available to promote your business for a month, 6 months, or even a year. Strategically placed before every episode of Ipswich Today, that's more than 250 shows, your message will be hard to miss. For more information, contact the show via the website ipswichtoday.com.au. Coming up, Ipswich Show celebrates 150 years this year. How did it all begin, and what can you expect in the biggest show ever? Show Society President Darren Zanow reveals all you need to know to make the most of the 2023 Ipswich Show. It's Friday, April 21, 2023, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This year marks the 150th Ipswich Show, and I can feel the excitement building already. But what was it like in 1873, and what can we expect in 2023? Show Society President Darren Zanow has seen more shows than most. Thanks for speaking with Ipswich Today, Darren.
No problem at all, Alan. Good morning.
150 years, it's certainly a big milestone for any organisation. Are there any old reports of what those early shows were like, and what was the motivation to even start a show back then?
Well, the motivation, Alan, was basically competition, and it really started with ploughing competitions. Who could plough a field the best with the best horse, the best plough, and back in the day they used what was called a moldboard plough, which was a single plough that actually dug into the soil and turned the soil over on top of itself, and that was generally pulled by a draft horse. So that's where the very true roots, the very early competitions was ploughing, and it was a competition as to who had the best beast when it comes to cattle and sheep and horses. That is the true roots of the show.
Do you know whether there was any general entertainment at those early shows?
Yeah, look, the very early showmen were all about like the bearded lady, the dancing duck, the electric chair, the two-headed man, the two-headed snake. It was sort of stuff that's probably not, in a lot of ways, politically sensitive these days. But anything that was a little bit left of field, let's say the Elephant Man, for instance. So they would put up a tent, and they would charge a fee to go into the tent and look at these very strange things. And that was the very early roots of the showman, and of course that has evolved these days to scary rides and games and such. So that was sort of the early showman.
Yes, those early days. I think they referred to in the old movies as freak shows, which
Correct.
Is, as you say, not politically correct these days. Thank goodness that doesn't happen anymore. Do you know when amusement rides became part of the show?
No, I'm not quite sure, Alan, but I certainly know that the very early amusement rides were, and there's one actually set up in Melbourne at Richie Miller's place, and I actually only saw it a couple of years ago. And it was like a pole in the centre with a number of ropes coming off the top of that pole, and everyone would sit around in a circle. And it was self-propelled by you. If you were nearly at the ground, well, you'd push your feet down and you would push up whatever side of the of this contraption that you were on, and it would seat around about 20 to 30 people. So that was sort of the very earliest that I know of show rides.
Ipswich Show has been operating on the same site, incredibly, since 1877, after moving from nearby Churchill. Was Ipswich the first show in Queensland?
No, it wasn't, Alan. Unfortunately, we were trumped from a few years by actually Toowoomba. I think it was our 156th show this year. We have missed a few shows during the time. Of course, the Spanish flu, World War I and World War II were times in which we did miss a show. And, of course, in 2020, we actually had a virtual show because of COVID. So we have missed a few along the way. But before the Ipswich Show Society was the Ipswich Show Society. It's gone through a couple of changes of names. It was actually amalgamated with the Ipswich Horticultural Society. And there was a split in 1873. So there was a number of shows before 1873, but the history before that is a little sketchy.
How has the look and feel of the show changed since you first attended as a child?
Well, as I first attended as a child, I can always remember sitting in the old grandstand before the current Greyhound or grandstand pavilion that was built in 81. I can remember sitting in the grandstand and I got a splinter in my backside, and I can remember my dad taking the splinter, getting a pair of tweezers when we got home and getting the splinter out of my backside. But the old grandstand was certainly, an old icon, and it was replaced. And look, the showgrounds itself really over the last 40 years, nearly all of the buildings have been replaced. And as only as recently as last week, we demolished the old carports and an old tractor shed up the back of the showgrounds to make way for new development. So it certainly has undergone a lot of changes, certainly in recent times.
For kids and young people, the show always conjures up Sideshow Alley and all the amusement rides, and they've certainly become more sophisticated over the years. In fact, you were spotted on the Beast last year, I think, more than once.
Exactly right, mate. And might I say, I'm fresh back from the Sydney Royal Show, the Royal Easter Show, and the Beast, of course, was at the Royal Easter Show, and I just couldn't help myself, but I had to get on it. But, of course, this year we're going to have a roller coaster, which is the first time since 1985 we've had a roller coaster at our show. So the Crazy Coaster will be making an appearance at the Ipswich Show this year, along with the Beast and some other really large rides that we have been missing out on for a while. But because of the resurgence of our show and the success in 2021, of course, last year we had a washout show, but this year, the 150th show, there's a lot of new stuff that's coming to our show. We've made our show half again bigger in size than what it's ever been. And it's certainly going to be something, a lot of new attractions, a lot of new acts, a lot to see at our show this year. So make sure when you come along nice and early so that you can see everything that it has to offer.
Darren, how have you been able to make the show so much bigger? Because you've kind of got you're landlocked, you've got a limited size block of land there. What are you doing to accommodate all these extras?
A third of the showgrounds, including the main ring, was always taken up by the horse section of the show. And it's always been a worry in recent years that if a horse was to bolt or it was to get away from its owner, whether it's a rider or whether it's someone leading a horse, it could actually, get into the general public and hurt someone. So what we've done is we've made a dedicated race to bring the horses in from across the road. Actually, they'll be on the other side of Parker Avenue this year. So there won't be any horses actually being led around the show outside of the main arena. So that's opened up all of the markets area that I'm sure people would be that have ever been to the Ipswich Showgrounds would understand. All the markets area right down along the frontage of Warwick Road, all that will be show this year. We've moved the wood shop and we've moved the animal nursery, the animal farm, the larger animals, and there's a lot of new displays that will be staged right through the back market and the front market area. So by moving the horses to a much safer environment for the horses and a quieter environment for them as well, we've been able to open up a third of the showgrounds to exhibits and entertainment.
You and the team and a swag of loyal volunteers have obviously been, working virtually 7 days a week to make this year's show the biggest and the best. You've hinted at a couple of the changes. What are some of the highlights in the main arena?
Look, the highlights in the main, there's a lot of highlights. And we've been trying to bring back some of the old entertainment from years gone by. We do have the main arena spectacular, which is a horse, cattle, there's sheep, there's donkeys. It's something real special by Rooftop Express. So that's our feature event at night. Of course, we've got the Demolition Derby on the Saturday. Sunday, we have the monster trucks and the rollover cars and the Dunny Derby. And at night as well, we have the Human Cannonball, we have the Wheel of Steel, and we have the High Wire Act with the motorbikes. Of course, the huge fireworks. We've never spent so much money on fireworks, but we are this year. as well as all of the usuals that come along every year. We've got Matt Mingay with his rally cars that are going to be screaming around the arena, and we have of course we've got the aerial motorbike stunt team as well.
That is awesome. I'm looking forward to a couple of those I haven't seen. The high wire motorcycle and the Wheel of Death. Wow. And the fireworks. Can't go wrong with the fireworks, Darren.
That's right. And, of course, the human cannonball. And we're actually looking for people to put in the human cannon and shoot you out about 40 metres. So, Alan, should I put your name down?
Probably not, but I look forward to seeing that. Look forward to seeing that part of the show. Now, in the main exhibition pavilion, there's a great variety of guest speakers on the list, and they'll be talking about all sorts of things on the urban utilities lifestyle stage. Have you got any highlights there?
As part of the show, of course, it's an educational experience. So we've really honed in on that this year and made sure that we have a number of speakers from all different facets of our community and of our 28 different sections of the show. So we have guest speakers on there that are going to be speaking about all sorts of different topics to do with agricultural, horticultural, industrial attributes. Also education like on fire ants, education from Queensland Urban Utilities, even Ipswich City Council. So that's the experience you're going to see on that stage this year. We also have the Bush Poets this year, the Bush Poet competition. Look, we have usually we have 2 stages around the show. This year we have 5.
Wow. Okay, there's definitely going to be something for everyone, and as you say, so much bigger than any previous show that's been organised. Now, the all-important tickets, are you keeping the tickets cheaper if you book online again this year?
Yeah, exactly right, Alan, we are. So we encourage people to buy your tickets early and book your spots. We, of course, Friday and Sunday, certainly the days to come. I know Saturday, people love coming to the show Saturday, and in year before last we had 18,000 come to the show on the Saturday, so it was quite busy. So if you'd like a more of a relaxed, entertaining time, we have plenty of events on the Friday and the Sunday, just as many as we have on the Saturday. So we encourage people to come on the Friday and the Sunday, just to take a little bit of pressure off Saturday.
And we're less than 4 weeks away until the gates open.
Oh, don't scare me. Yeah, look, we're on track to make sure that everything's 100% right. We've been turfing, we've been building retaining walls and putting up signage, and we've been patching asphalt and doing all of the preliminary stuff. And look, I'm very sure that when the gates open, the Ipswich people should be very proud of their show. And of course, the Ipswich show is about the people. It's about families. It's about animals. It's about bringing the whole community together in a celebration of everything that's great about Ipswich, from the cultural, agricultural, horticultural and industrial attributes that are the true roots of the Ipswich and Westmoreton region. So we encourage everyone to come along, enjoy the show. There's a lot of free entertainment once you're in the gate, and make sure you put aside 3 or 4 hours at the show, because you're going to need it this year.
Darren Zanow, looking forward to seeing you at the show. Thank you again for speaking with Ipswich Today.
Anytime, Alan. Thank you.
And a reminder to look for handy links in the show notes, including where to book your show tickets online. Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This podcast is also listener-supported. Please make a once-only gift or regular donation to help keep it online. Just go to ipswichtoday.com.au and click the donate button on the homepage to make a payment through PayPal. Follow and stream this podcast from your favourite app, including iHeartRadio and Amazon Music, or play Ipswich Today on smart speakers. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thank you for listening. Ipswich Today can now place your business name right here. It's a new service now available. For more information, contact the show via the website ipswichtoday.com.au.